You've argued with your wife about something that didn't matter. You know you have. And somewhere in the middle of it, somewhere between the second and third time you explain your point, you realize the argument wasn't really about what it was about, right? You weren't trying to win, you were trying to be understood. And she wasn't giving you that. So you pushed harder and she pushed back. And now you're both somewhere worse than when you started. And neither of you can fully explain like how you got there. That right there, that pattern is what this whole video is about. Because that argument, that's not a communication problem. That's not a marriage problem. That's a man who has a very real, very legitimate need and has no idea where it actually comes from. Or where to take it. So instead, he takes it everywhere. Into arguments, into work, into the scoreboard. He's keeping in his head of all the time that he wasn't seen. Right? And the low grade distance that sits between him and his wife. And neither of them can name it. Look, I want to talk to you today about the need to feel understood. Not to tell you it's wrong, not to tell you to man up and get over it. The need is real, and it is one of those most deeply human needs that exist. And if you've been told your whole life that needing things makes you weak or needy, I want to be the first person to tell you clearly, it doesn't. But here's what is hurting you, okay? You are looking for understanding in places that cannot give it to you. And every time you come up empty, every time your wife doesn't get it, or your work doesn't feel it, or you win the argument, but really you don't because you still feel alone, the hunger gets louder and bigger. So today, we're going to name where the need comes from, where men go wrong trying to meet it, and what it actually looks like to feed it the right way. So stay with me, because this one matters. Okay, so I think we need to start there, right? Why the need is real and where it actually comes from. Okay, so let me start with the why. So this need exists in the first place because I think a lot of men feel vaguely ashamed of it. And that shame is part of the problem. For the most part, when we grew up as boys, we were getting a message, something, sometimes spoken, usually not, that needing things from other people was a liability. You were supposed to be self-sufficient. Right? I'm laughing because I've prayed for that for my kids. I have 6 kids, and I always pray to have that my kids are independent and self-reliant. So maybe that was you. I'm sure it is a prayer that I have for my kids, right? You get to figure it out, handle it. Don't make your need someone else's problem. So we learned to suppress the need. We got good at performing self-sufficiency. You see how I get it? Performing self-sufficiency. At looking fine, at carrying things alone. But the need didn't go away. It went underground. And underground, those needs don't disappear, right? They find an indirect way to get met. Or they build pressure and pressure and pressure until you explode. Or they come sideways as frustration, withdrawal, sharp edges, right, in your voice. Here's what that need actually is at the core. It's the need to have your inner world witnessed. To have someone look at who you actually are, the complexity, the contradiction, the fear, sitting right next to the courage and say, I see you. I get it. That makes sense. That's not neediness. That's not weakness. That's the foundation of every meaningful relationship, right, that has ever existed. Think about that for a moment, okay? when was it a moment in your life where that you felt the most connected to someone, most alive, most real? I bet most of them involve someone who truly saw you, not your performance, not your output, you. And receiving that, they saw without flinching, right? It was just you, the way you were, and it's just like it didn't affect them. It didn't make them move or decide that you're a bad person or whatever. It was just it. Now, that experience, being genuinely understood is not a luxury. For human beings, it is oxygen. Look, studies in attachment and relational psychology consistently show that the felt sense of being understood is one of the strongest predictor of emotional well-being inside of a relationship, right? And satisfaction. And even physical health. So this isn't like soft stuff. This is biology. So why does a legitimate, real, deeply human need end up just hurting men? Because where we go for it or looking for it matters. Okay? So I'm going to go through some of the wrong places and why they always come up short. Okay? Place number 1, your wife. I know. Look, this is the most common one. And I say this with a lot of care because I did this for years, right? You come home or you come to a conversation with your wife carrying this unspoken need. You want her to see you. You want her to understand you, to get it, to understand the weight you've been carrying, the pressure you are under, the way you are trying. And sometimes she does, right? She's perceptive. She loves you. She can read you better than anyone. But sometimes she's in her own world. Can we agree? She's in her own world. She's tired. She's carrying her own things. She responds to you, to what you said instead of what you meant. Or she solves it instead of like seeing you. Or she just doesn't have the bandwidth in that moment. And sometimes you deflate, right? Because you came in with this and she's not receiving it. And then you just deflates. Or you tighten. Or goes cold, right? And the frustration that follows that quiet resentment, that feeling of being invisible in your own home, start to build up and grow and grow and grow and grow. And that's not really about what she did or what she didn't do. It's about the weight of a need that she was never designed to fully carry. Your wife can understand you, okay? She can know you deeply. She can be one of the greatest sources of connection in your life. But if she is the primary place you're going to feel understood, and if her ability to see you is the thing your emotional stability rests on, that's too much weight. That's too much weight for any one person to hold. And guess what? It will break under pressure eventually. Okay, second wrong place, your work and your result. This one is sneakier because it doesn't look like a need at all. It just looks like ambition, right? A lot of men, especially men who build things, who lead teams, who create, are unconsciously trying to feel understood through their input, right? If I build something undeniable, worthwhile, big, people will see what I'm made of. If the numbers are right, the success is visible, the things I create is out of this world, then I'll be understood. The problem is that results don't actually communicate your interior, like what you have inside. Like, it doesn't, right? They communicate your capability, yes. And those are very different things, right? You can be really good and really successful and feel completely unknown. In fact, some of the most accomplished men I know describe a specific loneliness that comes from success, right? Which is sometimes explained as like, it's lonely at the top. Well, it's lonely at the top, like that feeling that people see, you know, what you build, but have no idea who you are or what it costs you to build it. And so the hunger just intensifies and intensifies and intensifies, right? So you build more, you work harder, you chase the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. Not just because you want success, but because some part of you is still trying to be seen through it. That's not ambition. That's a need wearing the ambition's clothes. I'm gonna say it again. It's a need wearing the ambition's clothes. Okay. Third wrong place. Being right. Now, this one will step on a lot of people's toes, right? So stay with me for a second. A lot of conflict in relationship, especially between husband and wife, is not actually about the thing being argued. Right? Can we agree on that? It's not often about the thing being argued. It's about one or both of people needing to feel understood. When you dig in on your position, right? When you keep explaining your reasoning, even after she's heard it, when you escalate the argument, not because the stakes are high, but just because you feel like she's not getting it. She's just not getting it. Let me explain it a different way. What's actually happening is like you're trying to force understanding through the door of being right. You're trying to force understanding through the door of being right. And if I can just make her see that I was correct, then she'll see me correctly. Just want to be understood. But guess what? It doesn't work. You can win an argument and feel more alone than when it started. Because winning isn't the same as like being understood. And being right isn't the same as being known. It's like the need drove the argument, but it can never be satisfied by the argument's outcome. The need drove the argument, but it can never be satisfied by the argument's outcome. Okay, fourth wrong place. Other people's reaction. Okay. This is like the social version, okay? The comments, the approval, the likes, the views, the validation from your audience, your peers, your parents, your pastors, like the quiet monitoring of how people respond to you. Did they laugh? Did they lean in? Did they go past the first 5 seconds, the first minute, right? Would this video that I'm shooting even matter? People actually watch it, right? This place of needing the approval, right? Did they look impressed? Did you like my light? Did you like my mic? Right? I'm not above this one. Like I've put something out into the world and then watched for the response. Maybe more than I should. Not just because I cared about the impact, but because I was hoping the response would tell me something about whether I was understood. External validation, right? It can feel like understanding, but guess what? It's not. It's people reacting to the version of you they can see. And no one can fully see you from the outside. So you get the likes, you get the comments, you get the affirmation, and it still feels good for about 10 minutes and disappears. And then the hunger is back. Because you fed it the wrong thing. Okay. What happens when you're running on this? Okay? So, let me tell you what life actually looks like when this need is running underground. Okay? So, it's kind of like underneath, just like running your life and not being honestly met. Okay? You become just subtly reactive to criticism. Not huge, not dramatically, just it's very subtle. You're not throwing things, but feedback just lands harder, right? It lands just a little harder than it should. Someone questions your decisions, your authority, and you just feel something bigger than it should, right? A tightness, a flash of heat, like you had that, like something, this, you get this feedback or this feed forward, and suddenly like you feel this heat, like you want to take your shirt off, right? And it hits you like really fast, right? More than the situation warrants. So, because their criticism isn't just a critique of what you did. It landed like an attack. It landed on the part of you that needs to be seen correctly, right? Because you become emotionally conditional in your marriage. You are warm and open when she gets it, and when she responds to you the way you need it, right? But when she doesn't, when she misreads you or pushes back or just isn't available in that moment, something in you just closes. And guess what? She feels it. And now, there's distance. And neither of you can fully name the why. You carry a low-grade exhaustion, right? This is like consistently, and it's not too big. It's not like it's just low-grade exhaustion that keeps on moving you, right? Not physical, right? Although it often becomes that, but a kind of like interior, inside of you fatigue, right? That comes from constantly managing the gap between who you are and who you are being received as. It's tiring, right? It's tiring to need something you can never quite get enough of. Like you mistake presence for understanding. Someone listens to you for 10 minutes and you feel a rush of connection, but then it fades fast because you were understood for what you said in those 10 minutes, not for who you actually are across all of it. So underneath all of this, underneath all of it, the reactivity and the distance and the exhaustion, there is this quiet, persistent question that you may not have a word for yet, right? Which is, does anyone actually know me? And that question is the cost. And it will keep on costing you until you take it somewhere it can actually be answered. So let's talk about the real place. Understanding yourself first. Here's the shift I want to offer you. The reason you can't get enough understanding from outside sources is not because people aren't trying hard enough to understand you. It's because you are sending people to find something in you that you haven't fully found yourself. I'm going to say it again. It's because you are sending people to find something in you that you haven't fully found yourself. Think about that for a second, okay? If you can articulate clearly what's actually going on inside of you, the specific fear, the real need, like how is somebody supposed to help you, right? Like what is the actual real need beneath the surface behavior, right? The thing under the thing. How is anyone else supposed to find it? You are handing someone a map to a place you've never been. Real understanding, like the kind that actually satisfies the hunger, like that one, starts with you understanding you, not perfectly, not completely, but honestly and enough. This means asking yourself the question most men never ask. Not, why am I so frustrated, but what am I actually afraid of right now? Not why doesn't she get it, but if I actually told her what it is, do I know what it is? You know, it means sitting with your own interior long enough. When I say interior, I want you also to think about like with yourself. Sitting with yourself long enough to develop something, some type of fluency in it. Like Know your patterns. Know the way you're thinking. Know your triggers. Like, to recognize when a reaction is disproportionate, right? Meaning like it doesn't grant the reaction that you're giving it. And be curious about what's underneath it instead of just like writing it. I want to give you a real example of what this looks like, okay? Let's say you come home after a crazy day. Business pressure, difficult conversations, something that shook your confidence. You walk in and your wife is deep in something with the kids. It barely like acknowledges the fact that you just walked home, okay? And you feel it, like that familiar just, you deflated, okay? That sense of being invisible. The old move is to go quiet or to say something with an edge or to disappear and to work again on your phone or just like giving the underlying message which you haven't said out loud and maybe can't is, I needed you to see me right now, and you didn't. The new move starts before you ever walk through the door. You sit in a car for about 2 minutes or so, and you ask yourself, what's actually going on? What happened today? What's still sitting in my chest? What's still alive in me right now? What do I actually need right now? Is it to vent? Is it to be held? Is it to have someone say it? Make sense that I feel this way? You understand yourself first. You give your own interior the attention it's been asking for, right? And then, this is the important, you can bring that into the conversation clearly. Not as a need that is already leaking sideways, but as a direct, honest ask. Hey, I had a hard day. I don't need you to fix it. I just need 10 minutes where you hear me. That is an entirely different conversation because you understand yourself first and gave her something real to respond to. And I think here's the deeper truth. The deeper truth underneath all of this is that no one, and I mean no one, can understand you more than you are willing to understand yourself. I'm going to repeat it again. No one can understand you more than you are willing to understand yourself. Like the ceiling on being known by others is always set by how deeply you know yourself. That's why we always talk about personal development, doing the work to know you, awareness. Because when you do that work, when you become genuinely curious about your own self, how you're working, how you're thinking, your patterns, your triggers, when you develop real self-knowledge, something inside of you shifts, right? The desperation lifts. Not because the need goes away, but because you are actually feeding it now. You stop leaking it everywhere because it's no longer starving. And then from that place, the understanding you do receive from your wife is different. From your community, it's different. From God, it's different. Right? It lands differently. It satisfies more because it's landing on a man who already has some sense of himself. So let me give you like a practical framework, okay? Here's where to start. 3 questions. And ask yourself these tonight. 1, what am I actually carrying right now? Not the surface stuff, the deadlines, the to-do list. No. The emotional weight. Like what has been sitting in my chest for the past week, right? Like the thing that you haven't named out loud to anyone, including yourself. 2, where have I been looking for understanding in the wrong places? Where have I been looking for understanding in the wrong places? Like where in your life Are you are you looking or leaking this need, right? In arguments, in overworking, in monitoring how people respond to you? Like where have you been looking in the wrong places? 3, what would it look like to understand myself first? What would it look like to understand myself first? Right? All that before the next conversation with your wife, where you need her to get it. Like, can you get it first? Right? Can you show up to that conversation already knowing what you're carrying and what you actually need? That's the practice. That's the work. It's not complicated, but it requires something most men don't give themselves. Honest, interior attention. Look, time with their own experience. Time with your own experience. Right? Curiosity about your own patterns. Like, start there. I want to close with this. The hunger to be understood is not your problem. It's your humanity. Okay? You are a human. You are a human being. It's part of you that knows you are more than your output, than what you do, right? That the utility, more than your role, more than the version of you that shows up to perform and produce and hold it together and protect. Like, there's the interior life inside of you that is real, that is complex, and that is worth knowing, right? And for a long time, you may have been hoping someone else would do the work of excavating and finding it, right? That the right wife, that the right conversation, that the right friend, that the right therapist, that the right person would finally reach inside and find the real you and say it. There you are. But that's not how it works. You have to find it yourself first. And then you can invite someone in. The men I know who have done the work, this work, who have gotten genuinely curious about their own interior and stopped outsourcing that curiosity to everyone around them, they are some of the most grounded, most connected, most genuinely intimate men I've ever met. Not because they stopped needing, but because they stopped looking in places that could never deliver and then blaming those places. Because that's the work. And it starts with you. And if this hits something deep in here, drop the word known in the comment. Share this with the man who needs to hear it. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for the next video. And if you need me, you can always send me a message. Okay? Until then, Julian Marion, signing out. Say remember to release it, be seen, don't hide. Peace out.